Welcome to another episode of the Entertaining Stupid Podcast and another segment of a series I'm calling With My Buddy. And this time with me is my buddy Matthew. How you doing, Matt?
Hey, buddy. I'm good. How about you?
Not too bad, not too bad. Yeah, so
Right on.
this week we're going to be talking about self-motivation, setting a goal and achieving it because I think your weight loss is one of the most inspiring stories out of our friend group here.
Thank you, man. I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
yeah.
Thank you very
'Cause
much.
when I met you, you looked somewhat like you do today, maybe a little bit more on the heavier side or whatever. But like I remember,
Yeah.
I went to your house. We were playing video games or watching the UFC or something like that. And I remember I saw your yearbook and I was flipping through looking for everybody, and when I found you, it was just quite a shock to see what you were back then compared to what you are now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, for sure. It's a huge difference, hey?
yeah, it definitely is. And I just want to talk to you about how at some point back in your younger age there. Did you must have reached like a point where like you were like this is enough. I can't do this anymore. I want to get better, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a really good segue, I guess, into it. That's pretty much how it started. um, I just felt like garbage. Like, I think I've said it before in the podcast several times, but I didn't feel very good. And I think there's like, it's kind of funny because I think there's like, it's not just being motivated and getting motivated by something. I think it's, a bunch of things that start to motivate you and it all just kind of clicks at once. So, at the time I was feeling like garbage. And then I happened to, read something in the paper about a man who was 30 years old and had a heart attack. And because he was quite overweight and obese.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, holy shit, like I don't want to be 30 years old and get a heart attack. And it showed that he was like 300 pounds or something like that. And his height was similar to mine. And I was like, oh no, like I don't want to be that. And I felt like garbage every day. I had like not really enough energy. My stomach was hurting every day. I just wasn't feeling very well. And then on top of that, another motivator was, I had a couple friends that were in rough shape before too. Like, they were out of, overweight and out of shape. And they had done the necessary steps to lose a bunch of weight, and they were all looking good and feeling confident. And, like all those things kind of combine to motivate yourself to do things. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, it took a lot. It was a bunch of different things that kind of just came together and it all clicked at once for me. And then, from there you put in the work, and it really, the truth about losing weight is that it's a marathon, not a sprint. It's going to take a lot of time, and it's a lot of creating a lot of good habits and doing a lot of good things. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, and being disciplined. So
Okay. Now,
it's just a combo of everything.
yeah, when you sort of decided like this is what I want to do and get moving, like I see every year people make New Year's resolutions to go to the gym or get fit and everything like that. They put in their first month, and then they drop out after that, or they drop out after 3 months or so. What did you do to try and ensure that it wasn't going to be something like that where you just gave up after a month of going to the gym or something?
Yeah. Yeah. Good question. So for me, I realistically knew that, well, first off, I guess like you got to create a good habit, right? You got to create like a routine, and normally it takes something like 3 weeks to create a routine that becomes part of your daily life. Habits and routines that you do. But for me, I knew that I couldn't go to the gym right away. Like I didn't feel comfortable going to the gym. I was overweight. I didn't want to be, I didn't like running or anything like that, but I knew that I could walk. And so what I did is I did some research online. And I started from, really small. So I read online that if you do something like 4,000 steps a day, it equals an extra 100 calories burnt.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, okay, well, you know what? I'll start small and I'll burn some extra calories because, I'll go for walks. So I didn't have an iPhone or anything at the time. So I had an iPod Touch, and I downloaded a pedometer. And I would go walk around malls. I'd go walk around Walmart. I'd literally do like 20 laps around Walmart to get 4,000 steps.
Wow.
But I would get a bunch of steps, and I'd feel sweaty. I'd feel like I was burning calories for sure. And then I'd, before I'd, eat a bunch of junk food too. So Like I'd have like a big bag of chips like for a snack, like instead of having supper or something like that. So I had to cut down on that. So what I did is instead of going cold turkey on stuff like that, the junk food I had, I went I really minimized my portions of those things. So like I would eat super healthy each day, but I would treat myself to a small bag of chips with my sandwich and my vegetables or something like that. So and then eventually I never did needed the chips anymore. And then when I did eat the chips, I didn't feel good. So it kind of worked hand in hand, and it worked really well for myself. But it was, slowly weaning off the junk food and, wanting the junk food and slowly, walking and all that. And then once this was at winter time, so I was just walking around malls.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it came to spring, I bought myself a very expensive bike. And the bike, I was like, well, I'm going to bike everywhere. I'm not going to drive anywhere. I'm going to bike everywhere. So I biked everywhere that entire summer. And the combination of, starting in, late January, early February to where I was come, I'd say July or August. I think it was August because that's when I started my first year of college. I'd lost 20 pounds just from doing that stuff.
Wow.
So I didn't even go to the gym really. I just did that kind of stuff, and I was drinking lots of water, eating healthy. I just lost 20 that way, in a healthy way of doing it, instead of losing it over, like people can lose 20 pounds in a month.
Mm-hmm.
I did it over the course of, 6 months or 4 months and created a good habit. And then from there, I went to the gym because it became comfortable knowing that I could do stuff. And then I just needed someone to show me how to do it, and I could put in the work. And I put in the work at the gym. And then over the course of that year, I lost the other 80 pounds. So, over a year and a bit, I lost 100 pounds. But it was all healthy. It's doing it properly. Like, I think on average, you're supposed to be healthily. You'll lose 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds, which is a healthy amount to lose every week if you're trying to lose lots of weight. And I did it the right way.
Okay.
So.
Now there's a difference between losing weight and building muscle.
Yeah.
Did you
100%.
Did you like while you were working out and everything? Did you have like a plan that was losing weight more important than building muscle at first?
Yeah. So that's a good question. Yeah. So I give full credit to Dan. Funny enough. And I hope he listens to this podcast. But Dan's the one who changed my life around, I think, a lot. He's the one who took me under his wing and showed me like all these exercises and show me how to do them properly. He showed me an easy workout, cardio workout that helped me lose a lot of my weight called HIIT training, where you do high intervals in a short period of time. And he showed me all these things, and I didn't really want to do weights. I'm like, Dan, I don't want to do weights because, I just want to lose the weight. And he said, no, Matt, trust me. All I did was cardio and I lost a bunch of weight, but then I had a bunch of flabby skin. I didn't have any muscle showing. So you're going to do weights. So I would do 3 days of cardio and then 2 days of weights. And I did that for a full year. I did the same kind of routine for a whole year. And then after that, I kind of got tired of doing cardio and I lost the weight. So I wanted to start building more muscle. So then I changed my thing to doing, somewhere like 3 days of weights, 2 days of cardio. And then it fully changed just to weights the entire time. But that's because you can still burn a ton of calories by just lifting weights. So it changed more to that after. But I would do cardio on the side. I do a bit of cardio, like 10 minutes cardio a day. So, I mean, it all changed really quickly into what I liked. And sometimes you get bored, so you got to change up your routine. Because if you're doing the same routine, it gets a little repetitive and boring. And you're not really gaining those muscles. You're not getting, I guess, what's it called? The results. That's the word I'm looking for. The results you're looking for right away. So you got to change it up, trick your muscles into doing different workouts. So
all right. Now
it changed over time for sure.
Okay. Now, do you sort of like set like mini goals for yourself to try and achieve, or like how do you measure your progress?
Yeah, that's a good question too. I think you do have to set many goals for yourself. Like I think my biggest goal was to lose 100 pounds, but my goal was the start was, I want to lose, first it's like, I want to lose like 20 pounds. And then from 20 pounds, you go, I want to lose 30 pounds. And then you keep going in those increments. And then when you go like, holy smokes, I've lost 50 pounds. And that's a lot of weight.
Yeah.
And then from there, like, let's push it to 60. And then you go 60 to, 75 to 90. And then you hit 100 pounds lost. So it's like, increments, you try to do every 10 pounds, right? And that's the way I looked at it. I wasn't trying to say, oh, I need to lose 100 pounds by this date and get there. It's just, let's slowly lose the weight, and that's what happened.
All right. So like
And
you never had sort of like deadlines for your goals, but you just had goals in general.
yeah, I didn't really have a deadline for when I wanted to lose 100 pounds. Definitely not. But my goal was to, my small term goal was to lose a pound and a half every week. And how to do that, right?
Yeah.
So that was the the short term goal, and then the long term goal was that 100 pounds.
Okay.
Time.
Okay. Now, losing weight is fairly, I guess, easy to keep track of. While you were building muscle, like how did you sort of set, goals or milestones there? Was it just like the amount of reps you did with certain weights, or?
Yeah, like I didn't. Part of it is like you want to look a certain way, right? Your physique you want it to be a certain way with your physique. So you kind of look, that's just the mirror test, I think, for that one. But I'd say for lifting weights, it's, for me at the one point, it was just more like getting strength and how can I increase my strength. So, at one point you're trying to get to 225 for bench or something like that. And then you're slowly making your way up there. Each month, maybe you add on 5 extra pounds or 10 extra pounds that helps you get to that goal. And even if you can only do 1 rep of 225, it's still, you've done 225.
Mm-hmm.
So it took a long time. There's certain things that, you need the right person to be there and help you. I know I have a friend who's he owns his own gym and he's a personal trainer. And there's stuff I could never do, like proper squats or proper deadlifts. And he just showed me the technique. And I never knew how much strength I had there until I had the proper technique down. So someone like that helped a lot too along the way. But I think, like you had mentioned, the biggest thing is just slowly incrementing yourself with extra weight and just getting strength there. That was my thing. And then from there, you pretty much get the physique over time, right? Because you're putting in the work.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Now, sort of in this idea of motivation, because I know a big factor, especially when working out, is you see other guys and their sort of physiques, like I want to be like like Arnold or something like that.
Yeah.
Is it ever a good idea to sort of compare your results with somebody else's? Does that affect your level of motivation? Yeah.
Good question. That's a really good question. I don't think it's bad to compare physiques, I think, but I think the thing that you realize when you're at these physiques and you get to a certain point, you're still never satisfied. I think that's the problem, is that you constantly want to improve and constantly get better at something. Like for me, I think ideally, you got to know what your body is. Like maybe you're a bit wider, so you might have to be like realistically, you might not have that shredded 6-pack, and be, and you might not be, because you might be a little too wide. So you got to look at your build, right? Your body's build. I know mine is more like, like Chris Pratt, kind of like, I have a wider body, wider torso. So that's kind of what I compare. Like my goal was to get where he was, like for Guardians of the Galaxy 1, where, that scene where he's like got his shirt off and all that, and he's pretty ripped. Like that was what I wanted to look like. So I'd always try to get to that point. And I think I got close at one point. And then, obviously too, you want to look good because when you look good, you feel super confident and you believe in yourself a lot more. And you're confident in every aspect, and that was a motivator too, was to be confident. So that helped me a lot too.
Okay.
With that physique kind of, thing going on.
Now, do you ever compare sort of your progress compared to like other people's progress? Like he lost, 50 pounds in a month or something like that. Like, does that affect your motivation to continue working out or something like that? Like maybe I'm not achieving the same as someone else. Is it worth it still to, continue my pace?
Yeah, I prefer to go like slow and steady runs the race for this kind of stuff. Just because one, I've done it before, I have that experience that kind of backs me up with what I've achieved, and I know how it can work. I personally believe that if someone's going to lose 50 pounds in a month, that might not be the healthiest way you've lost 50 pounds, and I see it as as a short term fix, not a long term fix. So I believe in like you got to put in the work and it's going to take time, but that journey makes it so much more fulfilling and rewarding to, do it over time. Cause there's going to be slip ups along the way, man. It's an up and hill, it's peak and valley, like losing weight. There's going to be days where you fuck up and you have a pizza or you have, too much junk food. And it sets you back a bit, but you still got to put in that work and you still got to say, okay, well, I'm not going to let that day ruin the whole experience so far. You got to keep going and you got to put in more work and work harder. So instead of like, say I ate a pizza on Sunday, tomorrow I'm going to work, instead of running 5K that I normally do, I'm going to run 7 to burn off some extra calories or something like that to keep your journey going. But I'm more of a, you got to take it over the long haul for losing weight, in my opinion, because then you create really good habits and then they'll last way longer. Like I know that I've gained some weight back because I haven't really worked out in probably 3 years, like really hardcore.
Well, I mean, we're in the middle of
and we're in the middle of a crisis.
Yeah.
But the kind of this crisis has actually been a good thing for me because it's kind of motivated me to get healthy again and focus on health a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm taking a lot more vitamins. I'm trying to eat a lot more healthy. Watch what I'm eating, and I'm going for walks every day. So I'm creating that habit again where, if I can walk, 2K a day, it's better than sitting on my ass and doing nothing the whole day.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a positive motivator. So I'm doing that. And then if I can keep doing that, I've done it for 2 weeks now. I'm going to try to do it for the third week. And I just want to continue until the gyms start opening up or the weather gets better. And I'm going to just start jogging.
Okay.
And then I'm going to start going to the gym, lift weights again.
Yeah. Now,
and I feel good.
Yeah.
So,
now you yourself have sort of like an ideal state that you eventually want to reach. Yep. Is there ever a point where you attain that goal, like that's it, I'm done, or like maintain, like do you reach your goal and just like set more?
I think the other thing is that I got complacent before. I think my issue is like I had achieved a bunch of goals at one time. Like I hit the physique I wanted to hit. I got a girlfriend, and I was wanting a girlfriend. That was a goal. And then I got a good job and that I was happy with. And I hit all these goals, but then I didn't set any more goals for myself. And then I got complacent and then I kind of got in a funk. And then I stopped going to the gym. I was just satisfied having a girlfriend. And then, work was this and that, right? So I didn't set more goals for myself when I should have. And, now going back on in hindsight, my goal is just to get back to where it was originally now for, physique and feeling that way. And, I have a long journey ahead of me to get there, probably 2 years to get back to where it was, I think, at my peak. But if I can get there, I'm going to be really happy. And then from there, it's going to be like strength. Like I want to go way more into strength workouts and get to like a heavier reps on stuff like that I never achieved before. And I think that's a really good goal to set. And then from there, maybe it's, trying to do a competition or trying not a physique competition, obviously, but like a weightlifting comp. Or, maybe I can match.
You're not going to be, oiling yourself up and getting
no.
tans.
I'm not into that, but I want to, I want to feel confident in myself and look good, look better than I am right now. But that's not what I wanted. My main goal, I think, with all of it, it's never to look good. It's more to be healthy. Like that healthy lifestyle just makes a huge difference.
Yeah, looking good
mentally,
is just a byproduct. Physically.
Yeah, it's just a byproduct. You feel because you feel confident, right? So, but I mean, mentally, it makes a huge difference. Like, when you're healthy, you're confident in yourself too. You're not worried about anything. You're not stressing out as much, and then you got those, when you're doing physical activity, that helps relieve the stress.
Yeah,
to begin with.
And especially, I find with what's going on right now with COVID and everything like that, we're stuck at home. I'm not socializing as much, right? I feel this sort of like anxiety of anti-socialism, or I'm
for
just,
sure. Yeah,
and I find that I have a set of weights at home, and I'm lifting weights and doing like push-ups and crunches and stuff like that. It helps relieve that anxiety.
It does, man. I remember one time, honestly, this is a funny story to, fall back on what you just said. But one time I had a final, and it was my first year of college, and I was doing really well in this class, and this final was worth 20% of my final mark. And I went in there, and it was accounting. And our teacher never taught us really anything. We just had everything online.
Mm-hmm.
So I never really knew how to do like a general ledger or,
Balance
anything like
sheets,
that, a
income
balance sheet or
statements.
anything like that,
Yeah.
because it was all kind of pre-made for us on the computer. You just kind of had to figure out the numbers
Yeah,
to
you
work.
just filled it out.
Yeah. So we never showed us how to make a balance sheet or anything like that. And the final came, you had to make your own balance sheet and figure everything out. And none of us knew what we were doing. And I bombed it. And I somehow still passed the class, thankfully. But I was so mad that I bombed it that I went right to the gym and I just fucking went so hard and lifted the hardest I ever did my entire life at that point in time.
Oh, damn.
And I felt amazing after. And I just said, well, you know what? Whatever it is, what it is. And I went to my parents and I told them, hey, I bombed this test and I hope I didn't fail it, but I just want to let you know I didn't purposely try to bomb it. And they understood and everything like that. And it turns out I passed the class, but holy shit, that just goes to show how much you can relieve stress right away. It's just by
Yeah.
going to the gym and just pumping all you got into it, right?
Hmm.
So,
Now, this whole podcast that we're doing was originally your idea here.
mhm.
And I just want to sort of get your insight on, transitioning that sort of motivation that you built and those techniques and stuff like that, and transitioning that into other aspects of, I guess, your life here. I know
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
talked about for the longest time about starting this podcast, and honestly, at first I thought it was just us blowing smoke out of our ass, right?
hmm hmm
What were some of your decisions to try and push us as a group to actually get this off the ground and running?
I just thought this is a long-term goal. So let's like I said before, right? So the long-term goal would be to have something that can be successful that I can do with my friends, where I can go in every day and that's my job,
Mm-hmm.
to be with you guys and work with you guys. That's like my ultimate goal, would be to do some kind of business with all you guys and have every day be an awesome day and you just love it, right?
Yeah.
So I thought, you know what, why wouldn't it be fun to do a podcast? Because I love podcasts to begin with. I think you learn a ton from it. I love to talk.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that.
Yeah.
And I love to hear people's stories. And it's also an excuse to get together with all my friends. The more you age, the less you see people all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I just thought it'd be a great idea just to get everyone together. So long term, I would love for this to get off the ground and for it to be something that we can call, a business together, where we're all partners in it. We all make the same amount, but we all just have a blast doing it, and we can create content that people would enjoy.
Okay.
I've also kind of had I've always sort of liked the idea of broadcasting. It was always kind of like a passion I liked on the side, like for sports and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
I originally, when I was in high school, wanted to be a sports broadcaster.
Oh, never knew
So
that.
yeah, so that's like another reason. I just love it, right? So I just find it super entertaining. I think long term, I would love for this to hit off the ground. But like this whole year was just about creating consistency for me. Like I think that was my goal. I don't know about everyone else's in this podcast, but my whole goal was just for us to upload consistently, which we've done really well.
Yeah, weekly basis
Um,
here.
our podcast could suck for I wouldn't care. It's just about creating that consistency first, right, and creating a good habit, which I think we have done.
Yeah.
And I got to give you full credit, Jason. You've done all the work. And if you ever need help, let us know. But you've done so much of it. You've organized so much of it. You've really taken the lead on everything, and I can't thank you enough for doing that.
All right. Thank you. Yeah. No.
No, I honestly, I don't think we don't mention enough, but really appreciate it because you're the one doing the uploads and everything, and I'm very, very grateful for that. And you know so much about it.
Yeah,
So I'm
and
really,
you know
really
what,
grateful.
we constantly mention this throughout the podcast. Like, this is an excuse for us to get together, and
Yeah.
and I've sort of noticed that right now, especially when we're doing this podcast, it's the chance for me to do stupid stuff with my friends, and because it's in the name of the podcast, it's in the name of content, you guys are going to go, yeah, sure, we'll give that a try.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I just want people to listen. It's just about, friends getting together. And if it ever does hit off, it will. I think we're just learning and honing our craft. We're learning on the go.
Yeah.
I
Now
think we got a long way to go, but, I think it can get
it's
somewhere.
yeah, it's just like you and your workouts. It's a long-term thing.
Yep.
Do you have any sort of milestones or like small goals set up in regards to this podcast?
Yeah, like I think there's small milestones. Like I'm pretty pumped that we got 12 subscribers on YouTube. That's
Actually, I think we were
or
up to
even more maybe.
16.
Okay, so we got 16. So at least that counts without six of us, us all subscribing. It's probably like 10 people. So that's awesome. Like that's 10 different people that have subscribed that we would never had before ever. So I think that's a huge goal. So maybe, within the year. And I think that one video we did or that one podcast, sorry, that was like a 200 views or something like that.
Yeah, we did the
That's
first.
awesome.
Yeah, the first one we had Christian on.
Yeah, that was awesome, man. So I think that if we can consistently, the next goal is maybe we get like average 50 views a video or something like that. I think that's a short, that's a realistic goal that we can achieve,
Mm-hmm.
or maybe even 25. Maybe it's just 25. But if we can hit 25 different people to listen to that podcast every week, that's awesome. You're starting to
Yeah,
establish something, right?
yeah, we
And then
definitely are.
maybe, like you said, maybe there's local people that are interested in us, providing information about their products that can be kind of a sort of a sponsor. Maybe it doesn't really lead to anything like dollar wise or anything, but maybe we can get somewhere there in the future too. I think that's a goal.
Yeah,
And then obviously, if we can just keep on branching out, maybe we can get some cool people on, that we haven't had, the chance to do yet. But maybe we get.
Matt, I think you muted yourself.
Sorry. Yeah. Yeah. So some cool people on it, I think would be awesome in the long term to be something like a Joe Rogan podcast, obviously, or like a Barstool podcast where you get some of these cool people you get to interview
Yeah.
and talk to you, right? That'd be kind of cool.
Okay,
Long
now
term.
now just shooting out ideas, Matt. Is there something that you want to try out, like with the podcast here, with our group of friends? I don't know if I've mentioned this on the podcast, but something that I want to try and do is do a game show with you guys in the next several months here. Is there anything that you want to
I
try?
like that idea. I like that idea a lot. I think that we want to do the podcast, and I want to create content. So like for the YouTube channel,
Mm-hmm.
I think that creating content you got to start somewhere, and maybe something goes viral, or maybe something works out, and we can use that for everything, right? Maybe you create a series out of it. So I think that we got to try stuff together, especially when this is all done. I think we got to try that game show. I think we got to start with that. Maybe we do some more challenges. We just haven't had the time, and I think that we all need to kind of work together and collaborate. Maybe we take a weekend together here and learn how to edit from you and everything like that, so that we can even pump out more product and
Mm-hmm.
more content. And I think that we create that consistency like we do right now with every Wednesday there's a podcast. If we can maybe hit Fridays a YouTube video,
Okay.
and go from there. But I'm with you. I like trying different content. I'm totally down to try. Right?
Yeah.
If you don't try, you're not going to get anywhere.
Okay. Now, what is it about this podcast that motivates you to keep trying out making content for the listeners and
I think what motivates me, honestly, is just coming to see you guys and getting to go in a circle at the table and talk about what we did this week, or what's going on, or funny stories that we haven't told to each other. And I think that part really motivates me just in itself, like
Mhm.
just getting us together. And then the other part that motivates me is that there is people out there that do listen to our podcast every day, and they're friends, and everything like that. But I really appreciate that, and I want to make sure that we're giving them good content, right? So,
Yeah.
and I think that this idea, Jason's, a really good idea to have. This little series here. I think it's pretty smart, and I think it's going to go over really well.
Okay.
So I
Yeah,
think it's an
I'm
easy
glad to hear
listen,
that
and
from.
sometimes it's just too much people, right, at once. So this is a cool thing.
Yeah, I'm glad that you think so. I think running it past you guys, that was just the general consensus that I got from everybody was that it was a bit different. It was interesting, and they were super excited to give it a go.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Now,
Absolutely.
you've mentioned that our some of our friends listen to this and they've talked to you about it. Like, how did you feel when they mentioned, "Hey, I listened to your podcast. I really like it. I think you guys are funny." How did you feel when you got those I guess compliments?
Well, first off, I was shocked. I'm like, really? You listen to every episode? Because I didn't really assume that everyone would. But they go, yeah, man. Like, I'm driving and this and that, and I like your podcast. So obviously, it was, you're flattered. I think that's the first thing that you can really define it as. So I was very flattered, very happy, because even if it's 2 people listening to us every time, it's 2 more people than none, right? And not even giving it a go.
Mm-hmm.
So I think just us even trying to do this is a huge accomplishment in itself. And the fact that we're almost, come July or June here, we're at a full year already
Yeah.
of doing this. And how consistent we've been is so huge, just everything we've done. And then on top of that, we have actual, active listeners that listen to every episode. It's just super flattering and, grateful that we have people that listen.
Yeah. Okay. Um, that's
What do you
all.
think? What do you think about that?
You know what? It was quite interesting just to hear friends come up to me and say, hey, I think you guys are doing a great job. It again really motivates me to keep pushing out the
Yeah,
stuff that we
man.
do every week. And I've noticed a slight change in sort of the group's mentality about the podcasts.
Hmm.
For the longest time, it was me trying to get everybody together and set up, times and who's showing up when and all of that stuff. And I think lately I've noticed that, other people are asking like, hey, are we doing a podcast this week?
Hmm.
Can we make this happen? Like everyone else seems to be again more motivated to get together and push out content for everybody. And it's
Totally, man.
yeah, and it's inspiring to see, the amount of effort I'm putting in
Hmm.
inspires you guys, and then you guys put all that extra effort in, and that keeps me motivated to continue to edit these videos, to
Yeah.
make sure the recordings are put out on time. And yeah, it's just been a very interesting journey with you guys, and I don't think there's anybody else I'd rather do it with right now.
Yeah, man. I couldn't agree more. And I think that the coolest journey is just even doing it and that we've done it and then it's out there. Like I think that's the coolest thing we could ever done. Like not many people can say they've done a podcast or created a podcast.
Yeah,
At least we can say that we've done it, right? I
yeah.
think that's such a cool accomplishment in itself. And even if this doesn't get off the ground, I still think we do it for a long time, man. It's just a
Well,
great thing to
yeah,
do.
it's a great excuse again for us to get together and hang out. And you know what? Years down the line, we can look back and listen to
Yeah,
this again. And
exactly.
yeah,
I think totally agree. And see how much we change, right, year over year. Like it's gonna get better. And I know that.
yeah,
And we're gonna just continue to progress. And maybe that's, through investing more into it with, more equipment and everything like that. Like I think that's something we will discuss in the future here.
yeah.
And I think it's just only gonna improve. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Cool,
That's for
cool,
sure.
cool. That's all I really have for this year, Matt. Is there anything else you want to briefly talk about motivation?
Uh, no, I think that's pretty much covers it. I think that it takes I guess the last thing I'll say is that it takes a lot, man. It's like I said earlier, I think it's just it takes a long time to get motivated for something, and it might not click right away. And it could be so many different factors that kind of impact you, and then you finally self realize it. And I think that it's just it's best to take your time and go with the flow, and you're gonna have ups and downs. You're gonna have really good years in life. You're gonna have tough years in life, but eventually that motivation comes back, man, or you get motivated somehow from someone, right? So
Yeah,
surrounding yourself with good people too helps a lot.
yeah. I
um
want to just briefly talk about, like, you mentioned, sometimes you hit those valleys, right? Those
yep.
troughs, and you might lose motivation to do something. How do you try and reinvigorate yourself to regain that motivation to work out again, or to try and progress?
Yeah, like I think that this year, this one has been pretty good actually. Like 2020 has been pretty good to me, I think, so far. I've had a lot of cool stuff happen, gone on some trips, this and that. But I think the coolest thing so far is that I've gotten that itch kind of like I did when I first started losing weight. And I think it's because I started, going on the scale. I'm like, what the hell am I doing? And on top of that, I started feeling like garbage again, like I did before. And it kind of triggered me, like, oh man, like I got to kind of change myself and do better. So that's what I've kind of started to do a lot more of. And I think that, it's that self realization that, oh, if I keep on going down this dark path or this bad path, I'm going to be just back to square one where I was, back in 2011 or 2012.
Hmm.
I don't want to be there. So let's just put in the work now and nip it in the butt and get back to where you want to be. And I know I've always wanted to be there for like the last 2 years. I want to get back to where I was, but I just never really gave a rat's ass, I guess you could say. Like I'd have periods where I cared and then I just quit. But I think at this point in time, I'm just trying to take baby steps because I'd go right back into the gym and try to do the weights I was doing when I was at my peak, or I'd try to run and do all this cardio to lose it fast. And that's not the way it works. I know for me, it doesn't anyway. So I'm just trying to take it a day at a time and, one walk at a time right now. And then it's going to be a bike ride and then back to the gym eventually. So I think it's just, those baby steps that I know I need to take. And that's how, for some people, Jason, some people just have it naturally stuff given to them or it works out for them naturally.
Mm-hmm.
Like people might be good at math, and then some people have to put in the work and do a lot of homework to get good at math. I'm that person who has to put in a lot of time into homework and all that for it to be me to get good at something. Nothing really comes handed to me naturally. So I've kind of realized that now, and it's just a journey to get to where I am now at 27 before, and realize what I needed to do or what I have to do to get back to where I was before. So it's just long, lots of experiences, lots of failures. Yeah. My God, I didn't realize how much you have to fail to get good at something, right?
Yeah,
or to get back on track. The failures really helped. And with the whole crisis going on, I realized how important my health is and how I want to get back to that healthy routine so that I can hopefully have a long-lasting life, right? So
yeah. I mean, failure. Everyone's afraid of failing, but it's always a learning experience, and I think it's what kicks you in the butt to try and do more. In the face of it all.
And you need to fail, I think.
Yeah.
And that's something I learned when I was in going to my first career job and schooling and all that. Failures. You're afraid of it when you're in school because you don't want to have to retake something or like that. And thankfully, I never failed any classes, but it's not a bad lesson to learn. And I failed a lot at work when I had my first career job. So it's just, you learn so much from those failures and from those experiences, and they make you stronger for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. All right.
All right, man.
Thank you so much for joining me, Matt. I want to thank all the listeners for continuing to listen to this journey of these segments here. Yeah, I really enjoy it, and I hope everybody else enjoys it too. And yeah, I guess we'll catch you next time.
Catch you next time, guys.
All right. Bye.